Hi guys and welcome back to our channel. My name's Candice and this is my husband Adahi, and we love to teach you about personal finance and growing your money and living life more abundantly. If that is something that you are interested in, make sure that you hit the subscribe button, and if you find any value in this video, make sure that you share it with other people. So we'll just get right into our video today. Today we want to teach you about the 4 easy steps that you can use to stop living paycheck to paycheck.
These are steps that even if you're not living paycheck to paycheck, they're still quite relevant. Things that you can do to just increase your overall opportunity and wealth.
Okay, so while preparing for this video, we actually looked up some statistics, and some of them were quite eye-opening to us.
Yeah, quite shocking, almost disturbing. Okay, so the first thing that we found out was that the rate of debt is increasing faster than the rate of income and assets is for people in general.
The second fact that we found out was that 46% of Australians would not be able to survive a month based on what was in their bank accounts should they have lost their job. And 2 million of those would not have been able to make it out of the week without having some huge financial crisis. They wouldn't be able to make it out of the week with what was left in their bank accounts.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people and families.
Just knowing that you're one disaster or a redundancy or an injury away from being in financial ruin.
We also found out that the average credit card debt for Australians is over $3,000.
Yeah, and in America, the average debt that a person has is $38,000, excluding mortgages.
That's a lot of money, and a lot of people who are,
just in debt, struggling to keep up.
Absolutely. And what's also interesting is that it's not just the people who are in the low income earning bracket that are struggling, but high income earning families or people were also more likely to be in debt than those who are in the lower income end of the spectrum.
Yeah, so just because you have more money doesn't mean that you're less in debt. It just means that you're spending a lot more. Those are some of the facts that we found out while we were preparing for this video, and we wanted to help you not become one of those statistics.
Definitely. Try to avoid to becoming one of those people who are just struggling, and if you are in that position, to help you to get out of it.
So we want to share with you the 4 steps that you can use to stop living paycheck to paycheck. The first step, and probably the most crucial step, is to own it. Own where you are financially. No more excuses. Owning where you are doesn't have to be a bad thing. There are a lot of reasons why you may be in the position that you're in. Health problems, family. You might have a husband or a wife that likes to spend like crazy. You may have just made some really bad decisions in the past, or maybe your upbringing has led you to think that this is where you're supposed to be, because I know that's a big thing for a lot of families. You're just repeating the cycle, and it doesn't have to be like that. So what you need to do is to own it, take responsibility and say no more excuses. I can do better than this, and then do better than this. Okay,
so we're owning it now. We're taking responsibility for the position that we're in. That brings us to step 2, which is to map it out. Right, this step also kind of relates to a previous video that we've made about 7 ways or tips that we can save money, but we're just going to give you a basic idea or outline of it. So the first part is that we want you to take 3 months of your bank statements, and from that you're going to look at all of your different sources of income. So that's going to be part 1, the first part. Look at where all your income is coming from, all your earnings from your job, your salary, or wherever else money is coming into your possession, and we're going to write that down.
Alright, secondly, what you need to do is look at your bank statements and look for all the essential bills. That means the things that you need to live on. So your mortgage or your rent, your food, your utilities like power and water, and that's it. Internet's not a necessity. You can survive without the internet. You don't need Netflix and things like that. Just your necessities need to go into this category.
The third part is to write down all of the extras. So that's everything else that you spend your money on. That'll be your internet, your phone plans, your
morning drives to McDonald's or eating out, things like that, going to the movies, all your entertainment, just all the things that you do to find enjoyment or that you just have extra beyond the necessities in life. Alright, so once you've gotten all that written down, put it on a big board or a big sheet of paper and put it up on your wall. And that will give you a really good map of where your money is going, where it's coming from, where you can trim down a little bit. It might mean that you're not using all the data or all your minutes in your phone plan, and you can cut down to a lower rate. Or you're not using all the data for your Wi-Fi plan or things like that.
So you might be able to find places already where you can cut back. Maybe even subscriptions that you've forgotten about that you're still paying for. Things like that that you can just finish so that you don't have to have that little bit of extra drain on your income.
Yeah, because every little bit counts.
Okay, so we are owning it. We've taken responsibility for where we're at. We've taken a look at where our money's coming from and where it's going. The next part is to live within your means. So now you've found out where all your main expenses are, and whatever you've got left, where that's heading to. So you need to practice just living within that amount that you have left over and not going overboard.
You want to be living a lifestyle that matches your income. You can't be living a Ferrari lifestyle on a Toyota budget, for example. There's a term that I read in Scott Pape's book, The Barefoot Investor, which is our favourite personal finance book. And it's called Being a Postcode Povo, which means that you are living in the good postcode and you have all the good things, but you can't actually afford it and you're struggling to just keep your head above water. Whereas if you lived in a different postcode that's probably a little bit more affordable for you, that you'll actually be far better off because you're not having that huge amount of stress on you of having to live paycheck to paycheck and wondering how on earth you're going to pay for that power bill at the end of the month.
Definitely rent, or if you're renting or if you're paying off a mortgage, that's going to be one of the higher costing expenses that you're paying every week or every month. So reducing that amount can definitely make a big change on your income and your expenses.
Yeah, so maybe you do need to make a big move like that, to move to a different area or somewhere that's much more affordable that actually reflects what you're earning.
It can also mean making other smaller changes, like planning out your meals for the week so that when you go grocery shopping, you're not just buying whatever is there on the shelf that might look good or might be on sale, but you're going there with the purpose of something that you actually need to get.
Yeah, and that's going to definitely reduce all those midweek trips to the supermarket where you can suck out a lot of your money without even thinking about it. I think what it comes down to is being more intentional with your money, knowing where it's come from and where it's going. And when you are intentional with your money, you're able to think more wisely about where you're spending it, and you'll spend less because you're going to think twice every time you hand over your money card or your cash.
Okay, so we're up to our final step now, which is increasing your income. Now this part takes a bit of a broader perspective on your life. It's more like the preparing and planning for your future. It's things like studying or gaining more education so that you have the opportunity in the future to make more money than you are at the moment.
Absolutely. There are a lot of places where you can do online study. If you want to still be working full time, you can do it in the evenings. Maybe just go ask your employer, what can I do that's going to be able to help me to get a raise or to move into a different position? Because a lot of the time they'll be more than willing to steer you in the right direction or say, well, maybe you can do this, or do you want this kind of responsibility? If you don't stand up and ask them, you'll never know.
Definitely. Through my company I was able to do some training in warehousing, and I was able to get a certificate through work that I didn't have to pay for at all. And I think a lot of companies are interested in upskilling their workers so that they have that pool of resources that they can draw from.
Yeah, they don't have to outsource. They can just hire within the company when positions come up. So now you have the opportunity to have a higher increased earning ability and go for positions that you would otherwise not been able to do, right?
Definitely.
Right. Increasing your earning power or increasing your income doesn't necessarily mean that you need to go back to study. It could be that you want to start your own business. There's lots of business opportunities. Passive income is an amazing source of income. It's one of our sources of income where we actually earn money in our sleep.
Yeah, it's one thing that we talked about last week in our video.
Yeah. And so that kind of money, you have to put in a lot of work initially for free. You don't do it. So with passive income, you generally put in a lot of effort for free for the first however long, and then over time it starts coming in just passively. You don't have to do any more effort to get that money, which is great. So those are our 4 steps that you need to stop living paycheck to paycheck. First, own it. Second, map it all out so you know where your money's going and where it's coming from. Third, live within your means. And fourth, increase your income. I like that increasing your income was actually the last step that you have to do. There are a lot of steps that you can do before you have to go looking for another job or studying or things like that.
Alright, well that brings us to the end of our video for this week. I hope you enjoyed it and hope you managed to get something out of it. And if you did, please remember to share it with someone who might be needing some of this advice. And also at the same time you can like and comment. Leave us some comments on how you think we're doing. Terribly. And definitely subscribe as well, that would be amazing.
Alright, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.